issues as well. The 13th congressional district race, as well as the United Auto Workers UAW front and center corruption investigation rocking the United Auto Workers. Yesterday, the Free Press reported that there are more indictments coming, that this is not just over. Attorney Tracy Martin is my guest here on Redline. Before we begin, I want to talk about the February 19th town hall.
Okay.
Um, February 19th, 6 p.m. at Martin Luther King High School, we'll have a town hall with all four Democratic candidates for governor, Gretchen Whitmer, Abdul El Sayed, Sri Tanida, and Bill Cobbs. They will be at Martin Luther King High School, February 19th at 6 p.m., where I'll be moderating a town hall on poverty and economic inequality. To attend that event, you have to get a seat. You have to be assured of a seat, and the only way to do that is to go on Eventbrite and type Democratic candidates, Democratic gubernatorial town hall on poverty in Detroit. It will come up, and RSVP to make sure that you got a seat. In less than 7 days, when we announce this town hall, we've received almost, as of this morning, we've received 300 RSVPs.
Wow, that many. Well, Bankley, when you first announced your event, not taking Detroit for granted, I signed up immediately. I attended the town hall on poverty, which was also very well attended, with exception of one candidate.
Right.
But you know what? There might be one gubernatorial candidate missing, this Abdul El Sayed.
No, he'll be there.
Well, I don't know. Have you heard the latest about, there's a question about whether he might be on the ballot due to his New York connections? He did that stint as a professorship.
Yeah, we'll let the lawyers deal with that.
Okay.
We'll let the lawyers deal with that. I saw it. Somebody sent me the story yesterday, in fact, about the latest with Abdul El Sayed. But February 19th, 6 p.m., the Democratic Gubernatorial Town Hall on Poverty at Martin Luther King High School. The doors open at 5:30 p.m. Be there, but we want you to RSVP. Go to Eventbrite and make sure you get a ticket, because we're seating folks by RSVP. It's open to the public, but to ensure that it's orderly seating, please RSVP so you can have a seat for the 90-minute exchange where these candidates will be talking about poverty.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Let's move to the United Auto Workers. I want to start with that before we go to the 13th Congressional District.
Okay.
Have you been following it? What's happening with the UAW?
I've been loosely following it. It doesn't really shock me. It disgusts me more than it shocks me, because, this Solidarity for Sale has actually been going on for a long time.
What do you call it?
Solidarity for Sale, yes. And it's classic public corruption. And the feds have been following this closely for years, and finally they've been able to gather enough evidence, and there's more indictments coming. Because it's the circle, the nets are really expanding beyond this Al Icabelli, who's the executive.
The irony is that the UAW president Dennis Williams came out last week, issued this blistering statement accusing the Chrysler executive Icabelli, and saying that, he's a liar, he's not telling the truth, our negotiations, negotiations are not tainted. So I said, Dennis Williams made that comment last week. Then last night, the Free Press broke the story that there are more indictments coming.
Right.
So what's Dennis Williams talking about?
I don't know exactly, but the UAW is in trouble, that's for sure. I mean, when you hear stories about funds that were earmarked for employees to be trained, and they're being used for a $30,000 party, a $7,000 worth of cigars, and $3,000 in luxury wines, just for one party.
That sounds like something you see in a Godfather movie.
Yes, it does. I mean, that's sickening. I come from a UAW family. My father retired from Chrysler, and he was a union man, by the way. And so, our whole family, revolved around the UAW. We relied heavily on it, and to see and to hear about this public corruption that's going on, it's sickening to me. And I believe you're going to see some pushback. You're going to see some pushback. I thought I read something in the media today about the lawsuit. Right.
Do you feel that the UAW is headed towards implosion, where it no longer becomes effective? It loses its moral authority and moral clarity.
It has lost its moral authority.
And now it is just seen as an organization that exists in name, because I think these indictments and these plea deals involving the UAW and Fiat Chrysler are serious. I think it's going to threaten the identity of the organization, and I think for critics of the UAW, this vindicates them.
It does, and the criticisms have been coming for decades now. And so our worst fears have been seen with these indictments. But I don't think that this spells the end for the UAW or for unionism in general, because workers, in this age, workers need unions now more than ever. Unfortunately, Michigan became a right-to-work state, and because of this corruption, I mean, that just supports, that whole argument about right to work.
But if you tie that, but Tracy, if you tie that to politics, though, if you get the UAW, if the UAW goes down, that's like breaking the leg of the Democratic Party.
Oh, absolutely, because they're so inextricably linked, right? So, but and there've been criticisms of the Democratic Party, but I think that both of these entities can bounce back, and I think that the UAW is going to have to work hard to restore confidence. And we talked about this before when we were at the auto show last week. Perhaps they need to implement integrity, a public integrity unit.
Right.
To have some
instead of Dennis
Williams balances.
Instead of Dennis Williams going on denial.
Yes, absolutely. I think you're going to see him pivot. We shall see. But
when these I'm curious to see who the next three.
It's going to be embarrassing. I mark my words. So. We'll wait and see, for the official announcement, and then we'll see what Dennis Williams has to say.
All right. It's been reported that 3 officials at the UAW set to be indicted. Maybe 3 present or former officials, whatever they are, but there's some indictments coming. It's not over. Corruption investigation, eating at the very heart of the United Auto Workers. If the UAW goes, so goes the Democratic Party. Does this really affect the Democratic Party's operation? The UAW basically, they pick who runs for office.
Right, you have to kiss that ring.
Oh, no,
so
you got to do more than kissing that ring.
Well,
You have to hug them. I mean, you have to, they basically call the shots. But this is bad.
It's very damaging. So like I said, we'll take the wait and see approach, because, who's going to be indicted next? That's really going to color the future of the UAW in this town. And it's just, this is one of the birthplaces of unionism, for, the arsenal of democracy. For this to happen, it really is a blow.
Let's go to the phone lines. Theo has a question or comment.
Happy Tuesday to all of you. I have a question.
Go ahead.
You stated a little bit ago that the U.S. is attached to the Democratic Party, right?
It's wedded. It's wedded, not even attacked. Wedded to the Democratic Party.
I like that better. Okay.
I know, Theo.
Do you think if they were to fight for a sooner election to replace John Conyers, that would help to rebuild their integrity?
Repeat that question, please. If they were to pick John Conyers?
The 13th district has taxation without representation, right?
Okay, right.
Okay, now, do you think if the union were to fight for a special election a lot sooner, have representation, would that help to restore their integrity?
Well, I'm not the federal government, so I don't know.
Because I know that.
But now stay with us. I don't. If they do, that's fine. I mean, that's great that they stepped up, but the corruption investigation doesn't go away, and suddenly the trials don't go away. Theo.
And I think
so
they don't see that as a fight.
You do if you damn it. What do they call it? How do you say it? Exactly. That's what I wanted to say.
They need to do everything they can to help rebuild their integrity, though.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and Dennis Williams needs to do a better job than issuing statements and engaging in denials. He just needs to look. If the organization, if there's something wrong, you should come out and admit what is wrong. But to deny and basically throw the Chrysler official under the bus, the one who admitted, the Chrysler exec admitted in a plea deal that he was handing money under the table. And for Dennis Williams to come out and call him a liar and this and that, seriously? And then what? Yesterday, it was reported there are 3 more indictments coming down against the UAW.
That's what they say.
Maybe Dennis Williams should have waited before he issued that statement last week.
Agreed.
All right, thank you, Theo. Do you think President Williams, the president of the UAW, should have waited before issuing that statement?
Absolutely. I think he should have tempered his remarks. He's got to be following the situation. It's devastating for the UAW.
Yeah, because you didn't know what the feds have.
No.
So why would you get in front of them and try to castigate? One, you don't castigate those officials in the UAW who did that, but instead you try to castigate the Chrysler executive, say he's a liar, he's not telling the truth.
Well, that's because he's trying to shift blame. He's running for cover and he's playing defense. So, but not advisable, at this juncture. The UAW probably needs to hire a crisis manager, quite frankly, because I think this situation is obviously it's going to get even bigger than what it is with these pending indictments. So
now we're all focused on wanting to know who these three officials are.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Let's go to Leon. Leon has a question or comment.
Yes, how are you today, Mike? Great to see you again.
I'm good.
Good. I always enjoy you guys' exchange. It's very stimulating. A couple things. The UAW, in their position now, my question to you guys is, has that always been their position when the fire gets turned up? They throw somebody under the bus like they're doing in, just west of us, 96, going west. They're doing the same thing. Say they hide. So I think it boils down to people being able to think for themselves. What about you guys? I mean, UAW is supposed to represent workers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then for the, what's the word I'm looking for? In other words, protect the workers on their job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. Not use the money to throw lavish parties and, $7,000 in cigars and $3,000 in fancy wines. I mean, for some party. I mean,
and these are supposed to be the defenders of working class. Huh?
Right. Workers' rights. I mean,
You know what gets me is the gullibility of people. Maybe I'm naive, but I'm just trying to figure out how people can be so gullible. I mean, I'm talking about
who's gullible?
Supposedly intelligent. Now I'm saying supposedly intelligent people. I mean, look at what's going on in our world today and in our country. And people are, taking it, what's the term? Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
And I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
I hear you, brother. I get you. Thank you so much, Leon.
UAW.
No question. You can check the Detroit News on Monday. My column is on the UAW. Labor groups should be watchdogs for members. Let me read something I wrote. I said, now we know from this plea deal that the federal probe is deeper and wider than original thought. It cannot be dismissed as an isolated incident involving one or two officials. One lesson in this saga is about the need to resist the corrupting influence of power. Leaders should know that power, if used properly, can greatly benefit the people that they claim to represent. If abused, there are consequences, and that is what is playing out right now in federal court. Tracy, who knew we would be here talking about the United Auto Workers in federal court for explosive corruption indictments, accusations, and now you have this plea deal saying that, in fact, negotiations between Chrysler and the UAW was done on the basis of money exchanging hands, someone greasing someone else's hands, not with $2 or $5, but with thousands of dollars.
Millions, somebody's palms are getting greased, as you said. But you made a great point. This is not an isolated incident. It's not an anomaly, apparently.
Right.
Excuse me, with these additional indictments coming, it really suggests that corruption is system-wide. And so that